Hey everyone, this is Zan, and welcome back to Dominion 6 as Mekone. It's only been a brief break, but I do want to remind everyone watching that this was actually the first Dominion 6 game for myself and a lot of the players here, and we are, exploring the mechanics. There's definitely a different meta going on by now. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up as we dive back into this. And so where we left off before, for those who have not watched this in a minute, is we just finished conquering the Ubaran capital, and we were shifting our focus to removing the last of their raiders, and expanding our gem income for our sorcery paths to secure our position in the late game. This is something I talked about in the Mekone at a glance video, that your early game as Mekone is kind of secured with your elemental magic and your hoplites, but your late game is not, and you need to do everything you can to get there. And so I like doing arcane probing, especially for astral. I personally find a hard to use astral pearls in the early game, and so I like using arcane probing as an investment toward the late game, where honestly the need for astral pearls is infinite. Thankfully, the rest of my sight searching and dark knowledge casts are doing well. However, then I lose one of my sight searchers as he is abducted by a shaitan, which is unfortunate. And we're going to go into a battle now, and I do want to remind everyone that the version of Dominions that this is rather old and is not the one I'm recording on, so some of these battles might look different. But the actual result of the battle at the end, that is what's important. That's what actually happened. And so here in Silvermark, we have our Garante casting Bonds of Fire, but unfortunately, the one person with the magical weapon does get killed. And it's also like doubly so unfortunate that Army of Umar routed in this video, because Silvermark, for those who watched the previous videos, I was actually constructing a fort here and a temple, kind of in hopes that this is kind of the result of the battle. Unfortunately, in real life, I did lose this battle. Now, in Philothros, we just kind of come in with our anti-raiding force, and we find Asterius, the traitor Basilius, who then flees to Silvermark. And for those who don't know seduction mechanics, you need a neighboring province to take your seduced target to. And one extra little bit is that if you are a flying seducer and you are a size equal to or greater than, you can actually fly them across multiple provinces, not just the neighboring one. But that tends to be rare, right? We get a bunch of events, and this is essentially just the Krypteon is underway, so I'm getting a lot of unrest reduction and population get killed, and then once that's over, I will get an assassin per fort that did successfully do the Krypteon. So I shouldn't get one in Ubar because I failed to have an E4 there. Kind of unfortunate. Now, we're just looking around at, the rest of the map. Our neighbors, for those who have forgotten, are Saromesha, Rus, who took over Tianchi, Chirnanog, who took over Yomi, Ermor is my north and south now, after Uvar has been removed, and Ulm is my northeast. Not much else to say here, so let's go ahead and move to turn 32. All right, so turn 32, we move in, and once more I'm investing all of my gems to do nothing this turn, but hopefully in a future turn they're going to find some magic sites that are going to produce gems and make this worth it. We see Peloris, the Polemarch, is resisting a seduction attempt by the Shaitan. This is the one that stole Asterius the Basilius. Honestly, he just kind of gets mobbed down by a bunch of angry Gigantes, which works out in my favor. Now we view a battle in Orman, which is a bunch of remaining Jin against a bunch of Gigantes. Not sure how this goes, but with temper armors, they should have a tough time chopping through, right? Magic power, scimitar. Oh, 21 slashing at 18 attack skill is actually kind of crazy. That might actually be dangerous. However, temper armor is going to help against it a lot. The Jin can be repelled, and all of these spears are magical weapons, so I don't know. The Gigantes have a lot of hit points to chew through, whereas if the Jin get hit once or twice, that's the end of it for them, right? Oh, that guy was stunned. Do I have salt? Oh, I have salt. Oh, and magma bolts. That kind of cleans house too. All right, so that is going to be the end of those Jin warriors, and they will not be replaced. And now I march back into Silvermark. Unfortunately, no fort or temple. That is lost forever. There's a battle in Umbro, not too big and important, and a battle in Konberg, once more, not too big and important. However, everywhere else, I'm going to get these Kryptes. And I kind of just did a post on Kryptes talking about how cool they are. And initially, when I first encountered a Mekone in a game, I was early HTNG and I was just rolling through everything. I beat their armies, I did everything. I was threatening their capital and whatever capitals they had conquered. And then suddenly all of my commanders died. Because I completely forgot that they have these Krypte assassins because they're not on the actual national overview sheet, right? And it's these guys in their undies with their daggers, and they're going to sneak in and kill your mages. And odds are they're not going to be naked like this. They're going to have some equipment. And in the case of my encounter with Mekone, they had true shot longbows. And so as soon as the assassination battle started, my mage would cast some spell, and before he's done casting, he gets shot by a longbow and killed. Kryptes are really good. And they're free to, I guess, get. You get them as a result of the Krypteon, but you do still pay upkeep on them. A lot of upkeep. They're not the greatest assassins with no patience, but they do have a nice patrol bonus, and they're stealthy, and a lot of players, again, like me, don't really expect them. If you give them good gear, they'll probably do fine, though. Especially because you get one per fort that did the Krypteon, so you just get a lot of assassins. Outside of that, again, the provinces in question, Orman, Velodros, and Sobermark, are here, and with the conquest of Sobermark and the defense of Orman, that should end Ubar forever, and it does. And so, once more, we turn to just massive amounts of site searching, both remote and manual, and kind of start planning our next war. Like, who would be a good target, not only because the player itself would be weak, but because expanding into that territory would be a good idea. And so the first ones that come to mind would be Ulm being at least to me, I feel like the Mekonian hoplites with proper buffs should do very well against Ulm's troops. So that's a good target. Rus would be the most sensible geography-wise for me to attack, but they beat TNG pretty handily, and as you see, they do have a lot of forces, and chewed skin shifters are actually pretty scary. And they can get a lot of bears as well through their nature gems. So Rus is also a good target geographically, but a bad target militarily. I don't think they took many losses. Chernanog might be a good one as well, just to kind of take some of these provinces. They're kind of far, so I don't know. These are the provinces of Yomi. Yomi's over here. Chernanog is all the way over here. So this is so far for Chernanog, they might not be able to defend it. It's a little far from me, so I can't really go too deep this way, but I could try to grab these 4 and maybe come out okay. Ermor is another national target, as they are to my north and south. That would be a pretty bloody war, but also a pretty good one because the only threat would be their mages, right? Their units, I don't think, are a threat to the hoplites, but the mages can be pretty scary with fire, astral, and death magic, I believe. Their sacreds, yeah, just their unit roster in general probably wouldn't be too big a deal. Looking at the other consideration for, playing these games is the throne count, and I apparently got these 2 thrones here, and Rus has these 2 there. So at some point, I do need to fight Rus straight up in order to win the game. I'll need to fight Rus, and I'll need to fight maybe some more players up here to grab more thrones. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and move on to 33 now. And on turn 33, we have, again, more site searching, but we do have a cool battle in Konberg. Real quick, we'll look, are any of these sites important? Not particularly. So let's go to Konberg. I have a lot to say about this battle. Because we have a massive army by Chernanog, and we're going to give them a moment to bless their units. Just to, review the bless. It hasn't been too long, but... So they've got defense skill, strength, and heroism. So this is kind of a combination of the old blesses you would see in Dominions 5, which are just pure defense and strength. I've honestly taken those a few times. And the new heroism. So, at the time of this game, heroism was more than 105%. It got nerfed a little bit after. And so the result of this is that they have insane defense skill for a melee unit that's not mounted, and also insane attack skill with a high damage weapon. Making these Tua warriors pretty damn spooky. Personally, I'm not a fan of the dogs. Even with good stats, I've never gotten really good mileage out of them. But I'm sure they're great too with this list. And now on this side, this is the important bits. We've got Grey King Zote, the Prophet, with his winged shoes, and very good paths, honestly. Look at that. And a Nyorai, Absolute Radiance. So someone just played that game. And I personally, I really like the Nyorai as a pretender. It tends to not have the best melee stats, but it makes up for it by having a ridiculous amount of hit points. Um, there's a lot to say about Titans in Dominion 6. I know the general consensus is that they are weaker. Me personally, and a few other players I know, have been slowly coming around to think that actually in Dominion 6 Titans are stronger, but they have become even more trickier to play, if you could imagine that, which is kind of crazy. And so looking at this one, I like his paths, but I really don't like the magic robes that he has. I think some actual body armor would have gone a very long way to preserve the massive 316 hit point pool. And since he has nature magic, if he starts regenerating 30 hit points around, and he has good protection and temper flesh and all that fun stuff, we're getting in business now. Unfortunately, also, he's got these Boots of the Behemoth, which are going to make him trample, and by trampling, he's going to bump up his fatigue a lot. And so he might get critically hit, and that would not be ideal. I do like the magical staff, or the shaman staff, as the weapon, because it's going to give him more reinvigoration and decent combat stats, and he can repel with it, right? So I like the staff. I like the stone birds. I like the burning pearl, because that's going to help you repel and give you a little bit of fire resistance. I do not like the gown and the boots of the behemoth. And obviously this guy's got nothing. So kind of let's see what goes on here. So we've got Iron Skin, we've got personal regen. Fire Shield is a very good one. There was an Earth Power cast before. I hope this guy casts... He also does Earth Power. Good. Okay, I do like the Fire Shield. The Fire Shield in this matchup would be super good. Okay, so he also puts regeneration on Great King Zote, who has enormous strength and just has a lot of hit points, I guess, because he's the Prophet. Okay, and now Iron Skin on the Nyorai. Let's speed this up a little. Oh, no. No. What are you doing? You guys needed to stay together. He's going to try to snipe the back line. Knife of the Damned. Okay, so there's two things to watch here, I guess, which is Grey King Zote in the back. And the Nyorai over here, who has added Astral Shield. Astral Shield is really good at reducing the incoming attacks, but of course it happens after you've already been attacked. Protection 20 is definitely not enough against the Tool Warriors, even if you do have Awe and Regen. That goes back to where I had mentioned. I would have wished that there would be an actual body armor here. And sorry for the zoom out, but obviously we have to watch both Titans at work. I would have preferred that they would have stuck together. The Fire Shield would have done really, really good at clearing out all these Tool Warriors because they have low body protection, even though they have the Golden Spear. Okay, so you see this guy is taking heavy damage. We're going to zoom into him and hope that the demon doesn't die. He's regenerating 22 a turn because he's not in his Dominion, so his max hit points is only 220, not 300. That's also kind of unfortunate. First means he's going to take afflictions, but it doesn't look like that's happening too much right now. But he's just taking heavy damage because, well, he doesn't have a lot of protection. And he doesn't have Temper Flesh. That might be a research thing. Breaking Zote. I don't know if he's retreating or what he's doing right now. Okay, he's fighting this guy. Patent pending the Prophet. If he kills him in time... Oh, the Pretender's dead? This guy might rout just because how much hit points the Nyorai had. Very nice. Kills the Fey Horse. Routs Chernonog. Huh. See, but this... I still would have preferred that this guy be with 27 protection. I still would have preferred... And he could have even done Skeletal Body. So I think this guy alone, this Prophet alone, might have actually been able to kill this army. Well, he needs the Nyorai to give him regeneration. But if he would have done Skeletal Body alongside his Fire Shield and Iron Skin, I think he could have killed all of the Tuas. And that in certain matchups is better than him routing them like he did here. So I still would have preferred him together. I don't think this is what happened in real life. Yeah, in real life, the Tua and the doggos do mass up and kill the Nyorai, and I think they injure the Dione enough that he does fly off the battlefield. And as you see here, not a lot of Tuas and dogs died. Whereas I think, again, if the Dione was with the Nyorai together, um, if TNN were to have won this battle, it would have been at a heavy cost. And that can be real important, especially if you're getting dogpiled like Yomi is, because now other players might attack TNN. What else might have happened this turn? I believe we got on an adventure in Trollland. So in Trollland, we have a fight against Dark Vines and Foul Beasts. This is just a bunch of adventurers join up with your province defense to fight them. And these odd creatures, this is kind of a low roll. This isn't strong by any means. So they might actually get to survive this. Yeah, like these tentacle attacks are armor piercing, but you really need buffs to leverage weird critters like that. The Dark Vine can be scary because it just has so many hit points, it's resistant to things, but yeah. Well, what's up with this guy? He's enlarged and berserked. That's kind of funny that they berserked him. And yeah, he cuts it down. Pretty good. So, if you have not had this event before, essentially what happens is you get these adventurers, and most of them are hot garbage. Like, these do nothing for you. But occasionally you get something like this. You get the Nature 2 Adventurer, which provides Healer, which is a ridiculously hard to get ability, and exceptionally good on a nation that uses thugs like Mekone that has no other way of getting Healer. So this is super fantastic. There are a few other adventure types here that are missing. Another one that's super important is a cleric, priest-looking guy that is a Holy 2. He also has Healer. Me, myself, often when I do get these Nature 2, or these healers, I usually just park it in my capital forever. In this case, I think I'm racing to try and save Pallor, the Adept of the Golden Order. And that can be tricky. It's kind of unlikely, but we'll see what it is. And so finally, let's go ahead and move on to turn 34. And so turn 34, we don't really have much happening battles-wise. We have some more failed site searches. But most importantly, we do finally get Exceptional Impressment, our Pretender God. And I know a lot of people have been curious about this and kind of pinging me, be like, hey, Zan, when are you going to give us your Pretender? It's been like a year now. And so here we go. We have Exceptional Impressment, the Oracle. And so my thought going into my first Minion 6 game was I like this Obfuscate less, and so I would like to try it. I would like to see what happens with Stealth Polemarchs, because you don't need to bless Obfuscate, and you don't really need to bless Unaging. Both of them happen anyways. So the Unaging is just to keep the Basilius and the Archon young, so that they have less encumbrance, they have more map move, more stats. Generally a good thing. It doesn't work super good on the E4s, but you know, whatever. But the other half of it, the important half that comes with the imprisoned side, is that Obfuscate Plus is now going to make all of my sacreds stealthy. Not really good stealthy, mind you, but any little bit helps. And now I have stealth polemarchs. They do not need to bless themselves. There's no bless to give them. But should I give them really good equipment? I can essentially elf people. And for those who don't know, elfing is essentially where I park a polemarch. Let's say I'm going to attack Rus. I will park a polemarch here, 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 and literally all of their provinces, and on the same turn I will hit attack. And for the unsuspecting player, this really sucks because you just kind of load into your turn, everything's been peaceful, happy-go-lucky, and then suddenly you don't own any provinces anymore. Everything's under siege, all of your provinces or have a different flag on them. It's very demoralizing, especially for newer players. But yeah, so that is our Pretender Exceptional Impressment. It's a full scales build, a little too many scales now with this Order 4 going on. But it is a full scales build, meant to just maximize my income, maximize my luck, maximize my magic. And then I can leverage my gems into getting these Stealth Polemarch to, you know, raid in the back lines, or maybe escape from a tricky situation. Earlier we saw the Yomi commanders doing some, jumping through some hoops to escape a fort that was under siege. If our commanders are sacred, which all of my mages are, except the Elder Cyclops, they can just stealth out. And if I really wanted to make a stealthy Cyclops, I could always give them the Shroud of the Battle Saint, which blesses the unit. It does not make the unit sacred, but it blesses the unit, and sometimes that can be important. But for now, just know that I've essentially made it so that I can turn 5 astral pearls into an item that makes a unit stealthy if it was not already. And before I close out this episode, I just want to flash out my my site searching. I do like searching everything I can everywhere I can, so things like this makes me happy. 2229. I'm missing nature, glamour, and blood here, and death as well. But the secondary thing of exceptional impressment, which is interesting, if you guys notice, since it does have really high glamour and glamour water crosspath, I can actually start summoning cave kobolds, or not cave kobolds, water kobolds. And water kobolds are glamour 1, water 1, and if I give them a booster from this oracle with my current glamour income, they can actually start remote site searching glamour as well and kind of build up that path. I currently don't have a way to move this oracle, but if I move him to a forest, I think I can summon Fey Princes and fairies, and that'll be another way to get me into really high glamour later, or even high nature later. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to do a gnome, but I'm pretty sure I can summon a Troll King later, and the Troll Kings now in Dominion 6 do come with a Glamour 1 path. So if I summon a Troll King, give him some Glamour boosters, he can then summon a gnome and do more Glamour things. Gnomes are pretty good, but I believe I need to double check. Yes, I believe I was also given a bunch of gnomes, so I probably can just skip all of that by just divine naming or gift of reasoning these gnomes, and they will come out as a Glamour 2, Earth 2, Nature 2 mage. And that's pretty cool. At least to me it is. So that gives me confidence that I'm going to have my astral pearls, or I'm going to have astral, death, nature, and glamour secured. Maybe not secured, but it's the future is looking brighter in terms of me being able to leverage the sorcery magics in addition to my current elemental magic that I have through these archons, through my polemarchs, my cyclops, my basilius, and then these rocking, super freaking good hoplite units that just begging to receive buffs for anything, really, right? And so with that, I will leave this episode here, and thank you all for watching. Welcome back if you've missed the series. I will be finishing this shortly, and then it will all go on YouTube over time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.